Welcome back, guys. So in the last video we had a look at reframing the kind of thinking that you have in your mind in order to start changing and adjusting the beliefs that you have, at least some of the beliefs that aren't helping you. Now in this video we're going to talk about how you can make those new beliefs about yourself real. Because obviously just writing down what you want to believe in won't actually make you believe it. And what we're going to talk about today is how you create evidence in order for it to be true. Because essentially your whole world is based on what you think is true. And the best thing is that you can adjust that. So, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go through a little exercise where we're going to have a look at your thoughts, your emotions, and your behavior as if you were your ideal self. And by that I mean, if you were the person you wish you were. Now for those of you who have any sort of self-confidence issues and you can't even imagine what kind of person you want to be, try choosing somebody that you admire, someone that you wish your life was more like, and you can base this exercise on what they might think, feel and do, as long as you've got something to work with. So I'm going to go through this exercise as if you're writing it down on paper. So if you need to, pause the video, grab yourself like a nice piece of A4 paper or whatever, and split it into 3 sections, 3 even-sized columns, if you will. At the top of column number 1, I want you to put thoughts. At the top of column number 2, I want you to put emotions, and column number 3, behavior, which is the important one. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a little creative hypothetical exercise where we map out how you would be if you were who you wish you were. Bear with me on this one. So to begin with, I want to have a look at thoughts. So I want you to imagine that you are this ideal person. You're fully confident, you're doing the things you wish you were doing in life, you have everything you want, you can do anything you want. You are the best you that you could be. Under the thoughts column, I want you to write down some of the thought patterns that you think you would experience regularly if you were this kind of person. Now obviously these are going to be very positive thoughts because you're the best you can be. So I want to see things like, I am awesome, right? Things go really well for me. I'm always successful. I can handle anything. I am really worthy of the good things that happen to me. I am attractive. Whatever. I want you to make them up and I want them to be specific to you. So you might be able to take the exercise we did in the last video on reframing negative beliefs, and you might see some of the thought patterns that we designed in that one will fit in really well here. These are the kind of things that you wish you thought about yourself, the language you wish you used in your brain, as opposed to maybe some of the negative and limiting language that you use now. Now, column number 2. So once you've done that, again, just pause the video when you need to complete it. I'm just going to mow through it really quickly. In the next column is emotions. Now what I want you to do is have a look at those thoughts that you described. Imagine the kind of life you're living to give you those thoughts. And then write down the kind of emotions that you would regularly experience on a good day in reaction to those thoughts. So if, for example, you thought, I can handle anything, the emotions you might relate to peacefulness and confidence, certainty, the kind of things, courage, that kind of stuff. Okay? So for each of those thought patterns, come up with whatever emotions those are likely to trigger. You want to aim for about 3 different consistent emotions for each of those thought patterns. Okay? Right. Now, imagine that you've done that, okay? So you've done the thoughts, you've done all the emotions. Now is the really crucial part, because this is how we're going to build up evidence. Through your behavior. This is how you make a belief come true. It's all good to sit there and meditate and think about positive things and do positive affirmations. I do it all the time and it has a hugely positive effect in my life. But what really gives me confidence, what really changes things for me, are the actions that I take. The actions I take now compared to what I used to do when I was really lacking in self-confidence. So I want you to look at this pattern now. You should see across the page you've got a thought that leads to emotions. The next thing that should lead to is how you act in relation to those. So if, for example, the thought pattern is, I can handle anything, and the related emotions are confidence, courage, curiosity, enthusiasm, how might that make you behave? Now this is going to be difficult, but the kind of thing is, you would take chances and risks. You would look to try new things, right? You would never avoid a problem, you would always tackle it head on. These are the kind of behaviors that would come from thinking and feeling that way. Okay? So I want you to follow this pattern across the board for all of those different things. So you have your thought, which leads to a set of emotions, and that combination is likely to cause consistent behavior in a certain way. Good, positive behavior, life-changing, life-improving behavior. Once you've got that pattern, once you've got that whole sheet sort of sorted out, for those of you who struggle with this is why you get coaching, okay? Coaches help you to figure out all this stuff. So you've got all those behaviors. Now in order to build true self-confidence, in order to make those new positive beliefs you designed real, you simply have to follow those behaviors as best as you can. Those behaviors that you've now written down have just become the rules that you need to live by in order to become the person you want to be. Because behaving that way will create those emotions and eventually will create those thoughts. So if you're the kind of person who always takes risks and takes on problems head on, eventually you will start to feel confident and courageous in doing so, and even more eventually you'll develop the belief that you can handle anything. So it actually works both ways across the board. So you can start with thoughts, try and force emotion and force behavior, or you can force yourself to do the behavior which will create the emotion and the thought which leads to the positive belief. This is how you create evidence. Now, there's another part to this. You can't just behave in that way. You need to track how you're behaving in this way. So let's say you figured out that you need to behave more honestly. You need to express yourself more honestly in order to believe that you are worthy, for example. That's something I had to do. So what I did is I first I stopped myself lying for like 2 weeks. And by lying, I mean pretending I felt good when I didn't, hiding any negative emotions in any sort of way, telling people things that I didn't believe. In any sense, I call that lying. So I stopped myself doing that for 2 weeks. And then for the rest of my life after that, I kept trying to be more and more honest over time. So I started small and I built up. But what I also did was I wrote it down. So whenever I did something that was behaving in the way I'm supposed to behave, I wrote it down in a kind of journal so that I could track the evidence. Okay? And this is what's really important. If you track the evidence, you build up something that your brain can't argue against. Rather than being full of fear and making up things, or looking for stuff it already believes, which is what your brain does, fundamental attribution bias, cognitive biases, instead you're going to start creating evidence that you read over every single week. So in 2 months' time from now, if you read that you've been honest every single day, you had a couple of slips, but most of the time you're honest, you're going to start to believe that you're an honest person, for real. If you see that you stopped trying to please people, and you started just trying to take care of your own needs, after a while you will believe that you can take care of yourself and you can handle anything. So there it is. It's simple, but it's not easy. So it's simple to come up with the behaviors that you need to do. The difficult part is actually sticking to those behaviors. That's where the courage kicks in. But just start small, build up from there, forgive yourself for slipping now and again, and eventually you will become the person you wish you were. I'll see you next time. And make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe below, and you can get tons more free resources that I keep for my email subscribers. I'll catch you later.